right, Jenks, we got to get to the NBA where we have plenty of big boys, backing down players in the post, including Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. We've got Denver hosting Phoenix here. Denver laying 7.5 points, total of 226 and a half. So, Jenks, is there a play on a side or a total that you like?
Well, I think I'm going to lay with the Nugs here. I don't trust the Suns. Ugh, God. What did Bradley Beal say the other night after they lost to the Spurs? We laid a big fat egg. Yeah, you did. And also, he scored 9 points in that game. And also, I believe he left late in that game, or he was having his finger looked at. And of course, with its Bradley Beal, I'd be curious if he actually plays tonight. This is a Suns team that is 3-7 against the number in their last 10 games on the road. Now they played an altitude disadvantage. I don't think so. Give me the Nugs.
I think this one is tricky when it comes to the spread for me because these two teams have split this series so far this season, with each team winning on the road. The Suns actually won in overtime, 117-107. Last time these two squared off, but you also have some injuries that you need to be aware of. Like you said, Bradley Beal could be questionable for this game. And then on the Denver side, you could be playing this game without Jamal Murray, who we know is a big scoring punch. So for me, I'm going to take a look at the under, because even with that last game going to overtime, final score was still 117-107, hitting the under of 225 in that game. So I'm going to hit the under 226.5. Feels like if you don't have Jamal Murray, that's some points off the board. Plus, this is a meaningful game for Phoenix. I think this game's going to be played at a more deliberate pace. And we know the defense for Denver when playing at home has been fantastic. This is a team that's hit the under 19 and 16 under over record. Trying to say that correctly for Denver. So I think that's going to be the play for me. I will hit the under in the Mile High City. The other things you need to watch for: Kevin Durant has had some big games in this matchup. He's averaging 32.5 points per game against the Nuggets this year. So if you're looking for somebody to maybe circle, think it's probably Kevin Durant. I think he's the guy that probably steps up here because, again, they need to make a statement after losing to the Spurs. So I think we see big games from both of the superstars on the Suns. Maybe they don't win here, but I do think that they're going to be taking a lot of shots. So either Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, pretty solid looks when it comes to the props market. All right, next up, let's go to the Lakers and the Grizzlies. The Lakers fresh off a win in double overtime against the Bucks. So normally this is a spot where I would fade that team, but the Lakers are playing the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are not good. Lakers laying 3.5, total of 221.5. Jenks, do you have any clarity for me on this one?
Oh, God, no. I don't know what to do here. Aren't the Lakers going to be – I honestly kind of like the Grizzlies, but I don't know about the Grizzlies. Holy Lord. The Lakers double overtime last night. It's crazy. The Lakers are very good on no rest this season, which you wouldn't think that because they're always holding guys out, be it AD, LeBron, whoever it might be. But this is different. This is not your normal no rest situation. When you play a double overtime game and then it's no rest, I would lean maybe Memphis. I take that back. I kind of like the under, I think, is probably more of the play. Grizzlies are 23-11-1 to the under this year. That's the second best mark in the NBA. I just don't like this game at all. There's too many variables, I think, going on here, depending on who's going to play and that double extra session game that the Lakers played last night. That wasn't the best call.
Is this your way of saying that maybe I shouldn't wear this hat again? Because this hat is definitely a choice.
Well, no. This has nothing to do with your personal style choices. I'm just saying, haven't we all tried something or other and said, hey, I like this in the moment. And then you look back, maybe you wear something a couple times and then you say, like I've done this with shirts. Like I'll buy a shirt. And I'm like, this shirt looks good. And then I wear it a couple times. I'm like, no, it doesn't. That thing's already bound for the trash bin, or I need to give it away. It's not for me. Or like my mustache, just a couple weeks ago, I had a mustache on this show. That was very divisive. Some people liked it. Some people thought it looked like, I was a creeper. So I'm just asking you, have you ever made a decision and you look back, not now, I'm saying in your past where you look back and you said, maybe not my best call?
Yeah, every single picture I've seen of myself from, like, the '90s,
Oh, good
those are
lord.
not ones I want being relived. And here's the crazy thing, all of these
Mhm.
clothing trends from the '90s are making their way back. So when you walk the aisles of Target and you're like, "Oh my god, oversized light wash jeans, scrunchies, what are we doing here? Jellies?" So, Jenks, I feel
Oh,
like I'm getting
jellies.
PTSD. Like, what are
Ha!
the worst trends that you've seen on people that are attempting to make a comeback? Because, trends are cyclical, but let me tell you, like the '90s,
Mhm.
pick a different generation. Pick a different era. That was not the golden era of fashion.
No, it wasn't. Well, if you think the '90s were bad, go back to the '80s. The '80s were even worse. I know this is before your time, but the '80s were, they called it the big '80s for a reason, and everything was just loud and colorful and all over the place. Jorts, good call, Double D. Double D is saying during the chat he actually dyed his hair black onyx one time. Holy Lord. But you're right. There are some '90s style trends. Scrunchies, do we really need scrunchies back? Scrunchies feel
No.
like they need to be put in like a museum and never worn again. If I see, I like, I appreciate the scrunchie. I don't think it has a place in 2024. Aren't we better than a scrunchie? Cardinals are plus 175 to win the division. The Cubs are plus 190. Then you have the Reds at plus 350, Brewers plus 750, Pirates 13 to 1. Do you have a winner in the NL Central?
God, this division always
I know.
confounds me because number one, it's always hard to go against the Cardinals, even though last year they finished in last place in this division. But routinely, it almost feels like the Ravens or the Steelers, like a team that has a really good ownership group. They are constantly competing, so it's hard to go against them. I'm not going to take them as the favorite though. If you're talking about a division where you feel like any of these teams can win, I think you go a little further down the list. Maybe take a look at the Reds, or I can't make a case for the Brewers. I don't really like the Brewers this year. Maybe the Cubs, but still. I think the problem with the Reds is that their ownership group does not want to make those big splashy moves at the trade deadline. Maybe that's what puts you over the edge for the Cubs. I know they signed Cody Bellinger. That was a big boost to their offense. And also, it's a big market team that's willing to make big market moves, as we just saw with Cody Bellinger. I'm not sure if I believe in the Reds in that aspect just yet, so maybe we'll go with the Cubs.
Yeah, I kind of like the Cubs as well. Why not, right? They've got our guy Justin Steele. He's an ace. They've got some pop in the lineup. Probably should have won the division last year. They were certainly in line to do that and then kind of fell off. But at plus 190 for a division I'm not crazy about. Yeah, how about a sprinkle on the Cubs? Why not? Clemson and Arizona. I believe Arizona laying last time I checked, what, 7.5? Maybe it's different in some places. What do you like here?
Yeah, Clemson's going to face a much better defense in Arizona than what it just saw in Baylor, but I'm still going to take the points with Clemson. I think 7.5 is just too many. UConn and Arizona, they are the only two teams left in the tournament that are top 10 in adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency. That said, Clemson was a really good non-conference team, and non-conference teams perform typically fairly well in the tournament. Clemson beat Alabama, South Carolina, TCU, Duke. I know that is a conference opponent, but only lost to Duke by 1. They're a tough team. And Tigers are one of the oldest teams in the field. They have size. Arizona doesn't shoot a whole lot of threes. A lot of its scoring comes from down low, and Clemson has 5 players that are 6'8" or taller. That's where their size is going to come into play. They can match up well with the Wildcats' bigs. It also is a little concerning to me that Arizona struggled to put Dayton away. They had a lead. A lot of silly mistakes allowed Dayton back in that game. I think Arizona's still going to win this game, but 7.5 points, that's too many. So I'm taking Clemson on the side.